Hi friends! Welcome to Catoctin Mountain Park. We're out here on a springtime scavenger hunt. Miss Becky and I picked the Brown's Farm Trail today for us to get out and find all those new signs of spring. And I bet you can see them around me. There's a lot of color popping. We have green and yellow and white. We have all sorts of new textures emerging and shapes emerging. So we thought, let's invite our friends out to check it out with us. So we're gonna head out on the trail today. And I'm hoping that we hear the signs of spring, like birds pecking on trees and maybe the Canada geese flying over. I'm hoping that we can find maybe heart-shaped leaves and maybe even some teardrop leaves or flowers. I thought maybe we would hear some water or hear some wind, but you know, the biggest thing that we see today is sunshine. Lots of sunshine, actually. That sun and that change of daylight, have you noticed we've had a lot more? Really helps those animals realize it's time to wake up. It's time to get out and explore. So let's head into the woods today and let's find as many signs of spring as we can. Did you see this little flash of yellow? Right down here we have the trout lily. There's just a couple flowers that are trying to open up toward the ground. It's like an umbrella trying to open. It doesn't open toward the sky, so you have to have really good eyes like you do to see this trout lily in bloom. The first way though to spot a trout lily that's about to bloom is by finding their leaves. They're green and purplish leaves right down here. They're kind of blotchy in color. And so you just lean down to take a look at it. It's beautiful. However, another thing happened right when I spotted the yellow flower, and I bet you saw it too. A pollinator flew in here, a little bee who was pollinating from the many flowers down here. We have a lot of littles down here. A white flower called a spring beauty, the trout lily, and I think some wild geranium and violets. We're finding shapes and colors here today. Let's see what else we can find. So I followed the sound of water, and when I think of spring, I think of water tumbling over rocks. And when you think of water, again, water is life. It gives life to so many new plants. And we have a humongous plant right back here called the skunk cabbage. Take a closer look with me here. The skunk cabbage is a round, almost triangular shaped leaf, but it's huge. And because I know what the plant is, I know I can touch it and just lightly touch it. It has a unique texture, almost a waxy texture underneath too, but it's really cool looking right here along the stream. We have flowers amongst us. We also have a special tree all along this trail called a spice bush tree. Right now, the little yellow flowers are like little tight circles that are about to bloom on the tree. So look around as you hike the trail to look for those. But again, when you hear a stream, when you think of spring, all sorts of animals are emerging. Frogs and toads, salamanders, and all sorts of bugs in the creek. So take a closer look to see what you can find. I know I'm gonna head over and see how many rocks or stumps I can turn over to see who's emerged this spring. Sometimes to find shapes and colors, different textures, you have to lift things out in the forest. So we were lifting some logs and we found this salamander. It's a red-backed salamander, if you see it here. He or she has a long brownish red line along its back. Talking about shapes, it's just a long line. This is a little guy out here. But when you lift the logs, not only do you see the colors, but you see what's coming alive. You also notice how warm it is underneath those logs. And even when you lift leaves, you notice how warm it is underneath there. So, critters are waking up. Lift a rock, lift a log, and you never know what you might find, especially this time of year. Oh my goodness, look what we found. Nice and green and soft. This is comforting to touch moss. It's like putting your hands into the softest carpet or stuffed animal. I love moss along the trees and along the logs in the forest. It's really easy to spot in winter and spring. Look at how green it is. And it's a different color green than the leaves popping on the trees right now. It's almost a lime green. But when you have the opportunity, touch it. It feels so nice. Who would have guessed that we would have found a perfect triangle out here today? But we are on the White Triangle Trail, which is known as the Browns Farm Trail. Look at that. That triangle tells you that you're on the right trail if you keep along with that shape and color. It's called a blaze on a tree. And not only do we have a perfect white triangle, but right below this we have beautiful green heart-shaped leaves. Who would have guessed we would have seen a heart shape today? But we have them all over the ground here. They're a beautiful leaf and they're just coming up. I bet they're only a week old. So I imagine that they'll get pretty big in the next couple weeks. 2 unique shapes, one that humans put on the tree and one that just grew out of the earth. Look at this prickly circle. It's a ball of sorts, and man, it's really prickly. Little seeds, I think, sticking out. They've fallen from a tree from the fall or winter, and they're all over this area along the trail. Well, look at that. It's falling apart. You can open it up inside. It's definitely not as sharp inside, but what a unique ball. We'll have to look at what this came from. I'm sure it's a type of tree, but something for us to look up later. Let's keep looking. Here we've discovered some brown and orangish red along a millipede. He was hiding underneath a rock. So again, we had to flip some things over to find signs of spring. And boy, did we find a big one here. He's not startled anymore. You can see his many legs. But when they get startled, they curl up into a ball, much like we do when we're not feeling good, or if we startle a caterpillar. Have you ever seen them curl up into a ball? I think it's their defense mechanism. Again, this little guy, or I should say big guy, isn't scared anymore because look at him go. He's just weaving his way back into the soil and leaves. They love to be around old trees too that have died. That's a millipede. Another fun color here on the trail. When you're out in the forest, do you ever notice the hidden shapes like letters or numbers amongst the trees and plants? We were walking along and we noticed a few different shapes in particular, and maybe you'll see them behind me. I think I see a shape. Do you? I see a V shape, and I see what looks to be either the start of the letter C or a backwards J. Again, you never know what you're going to find out here. They're hiding and waiting for you to find them. Miss Becky has eagle eyes out here. We were walking amongst the brownish leaves from last season, and she found this round snail shell. Isn't that cool? It's in the shape of a circle, and it swirls in. It was someone's home once, and it blended in. Becky has great eyes, and I know you do as well. Wow, we noticed some activity down near the ground here. Miss Becky found this round hole in this insect emerging out. He was wiggling out, and you know who it is? It's a cicada. It's the year of the cicada, the 17-year emergence of this species. They're coming out of the ground, they're going to climb up onto the trees, and then they're going to crawl out of their exoskeleton or their outer body, crawl up into the trees and make lots of noise. You're going to be hearing them very soon, unless you've already heard them already. You may see them emerging, but you're definitely going to see their exoskeletons on the trunks of trees, and you're going to be hearing them at night. It's going to be amazing. So check out the cicadas this season. We have found a lot of things on this scavenger hunt today. We were hoping to find colors, shapes, and textures. And boy, did we find it. My goodness, and we've just started. We've been out here a short time. We found yellow and white. We found things that move slow and fast, things that are just starting to emerge. And I'll tell you, it's been wonderful. It's wonderful to get out here and smell spring, touch spring, and witness it. On this Browns Farm Trail, there are changes happening daily, so don't miss it. Get out and explore this trail or a trail in your neighborhood. You may find, again, shapes like this X behind me. You might find color. You might find moss to touch. You might hear the birds chirping or even see them making their nests for the season. We have many examples of spring, but the one you can't miss this season is the longer days and the bright colors around you. So get out, explore. Come visit us at Catoctin Mountain Park, and we'll see you next time. Remember, when you're out exploring, Leave things how you found them. We want to protect and respect the animals and the plants.